Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Hello, everybody, to another episode of Expat Conversation with Michael Nolen. I want to say thank you very much for listening today and watching the program. Once again, I need to tell everyone that this is an outreach of the University of Guadalajara Institute of Investigation, Innovation, and Governance, which is headed up by Dr. Marco Antonio Cortez Gradado, and he's the one that allows us to do this program. And so I want to say thank you very much to him. And of course, I have to say thank you once again to the crew and the staff of the Monticello Hotel and Resort here in the west side of Lake Chapala. They're very, very generous every time I need to video things and have the crew come over from Guadalajara. So I want to say thank you very much to them for letting us do our shows here. Today I have a not really serious conversation, but it's very, very important.
Very important.
And I have an obligada, Maria.
Maria.
You want to say your whole name because it's this long?
Yeah, it's too long. It's Maria de las Nieves Solbes Luis. That's my full name.
And her son, Diego.
Thank you very much, Michael. Diego Diaz Solbes, my full name.
And he's a lawyer. She's a lawyer. It's different down here because you're an A or an obligado. It's the gender.
It's just the word,
female,
the gender.
male.
Exactly. That's right.
In United States, you're a lawyer.
You're a lawyer, and that's
In UK, you're a barrister.
And that's a lot easier.
You know, my little brother, I've got more lawyer jokes than I should have.
That's good.
But I don't want to tell any today because you might just say I'm leaving.
No, we are going to stay.
Not at
away,
all.
Don't worry.
I met them a while back at the Lake Chapala Society. They were doing a seminar, a two-part seminar, if I'm sure, all about wills and testimonies and the things that us expats need to know. That we may have a will that was done in the United States by a lawyer, and we have it on file at the county courthouse or in our safety deposit box or wherever, in the bottom drawer in the kitchen. But when you come down here to Mexico and you live, if you're a full-time resident, if you have a permanent residency, or if you have your temporary and you're living here full-time, and or if you're a snowbird and you're going to be down here, it's probably pretty smart, and it's an obligation to have a different will
Absolutely.
than what you have in the United States. Because I don't know if the one I have in the United States is even legal down here because I'm in a foreign country. So, you two are the experts on it, and you all are the ones that help people. And now you practice, y'all do have a law practice.
That's correct.
Here in Lake Chapala, Ajijic, where y'all
In all
located?
the area. In all
The whole area, all the lakeside.
All lakeside. That's
Lakeside
correct.
and in Guadalajara too.
And in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
And did y'all graduate from the University of Guadalajara?
She
No?
didn't.
Well, no, I was in the. Yeah, I did. I studied. You asked me that where I studied was in Mexico City.
Oh, Mexico City.
I
UNAM.
studied in UNAM.
UNAM. And you're in UNAM.
And I'm from Univa.
Univa.
It's a university in Guadalajara.
I know that. That's
Yeah.
where my wife's niece graduated from.
Oh, really?
Well, I have some lawyers in the United States. It's my law firm is it's Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
That's a good
They
one.
were the worst. Now they're not as bad as my Japanese eye doctor. I have a Japanese eye doctor. He thinks a Cadillac is an expensive American car.
Oh,
It's terrible.
that doesn't sound good.
No, you know, I shady people. You do the seminars over at the Lake Chapala Society. It's a very nominal fee. So anybody that's living down here can sign up for it. You do it, what, 2 or 3 times a year?
Yes, we usually no. We do it. We address different topics,
Okay.
different subjects. One of the most important that we've had recently, that has the most response from the community, is from the expat community. Is everything about wills.
Okay.
Those are the ones that we try to talk about the most because they are the most important. Like you were mentioning, Michael, there's a lot of confusion between people that already have a will in the US or in Canada and people thinking that because they have a will over there, they don't need a will here. And that's when the difference comes in. Of course, it's legal to have your will in the U.S., but we also advise all of our clients and all of the people that come to our chats, we tell them to make 2 separate wills. One for all of the state and everything you have in your country, can be the U.S., Canada, wherever.
United Kingdom,
United Kingdom, exactly.
Ghana.
Yeah, exactly. Even in India, we've had people, I mean, from all
India?
over the world.
Yeah, we have
yes.
people from India.
And we advise for everything that is related to Mexico to make their own will, to make it separate from what they already have in their country. So that's very important,
Okay.
and that's what we usually advise.
We advise that also we have to say.
Excuse me, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it's okay.
If you have a will made in United States or in Canada or any other country, you can use if you have all the legalization for Canada, and if you have the apostilla from United States or from another country that they are in the agreement of the age, and they have the apostilla in this agreement. Canada is not in this agreement, so we need the legalization. But if you have a good will and you describe your property in Mexico, we can use that one. But it's a lot easier to work with the Mexican will. That's
And
why.
it's not terribly expensive to have a will done
No,
here.
it isn't. No.
So
Actually, in this month, Michael.
September, this is
September.
September 2022,
That's correct.
and it's will month, kind of, sort of. You get a discount.
A very big discount.
A very big
Actually,
discount.
Yes, we're talking about maybe 80% discount.
Really?
So it's a set fee that the government actually assigns to the notaries, and it's 2,050 pesos.
Okay.
What they charge for the regular will that you grant in front of a notary.
Which is about $125.
About 125, a little bit less than that, but it's almost in.
My
that.
lawyer will go. I can't take my lawyer out for dinner and pay for everything. He still charges me more than that.
Yeah, a lot more than that
I can
actually.
do the same for you.
Okay, we'll go out to dinner after this. And,
So yes, that's a regular price right now. Well, the regular price, if you do it at any other moment within the year that it's not in September, it can go all the way up to 10,000 pesos.
okay, about
So-
$500.
Yeah,
Well, that's
something like
still cheaper than a lot of lawyers in the United States
lot
or
cheaper.
Canada or wherever.
Obviously, if you're
work.
going to have an attorney have a draft for you for the will,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to save you time.
Okay.
The discount itself is with the notaries, so it's about an 80% discount.
And notarios do a whole lot more down here than they do in the United States. They're
That's
very, very
correct.
important.
Yes.
When I bought my homes down here, I had to go through a notario,
Mm-hmm.
as they call them, and they are lawyers,
They have to
and
be
they have to be
lawyers.
appointed by
By the government.
the government
That's
to be a notario. I used to have a good friend, well, I still have him. He's a notario in Puerto Vallarta. He lived right down the street from me, and he was on my show quite a few times, and very, very helpful, and got a lot of information out.
Yeah.
But now I'm over here at the Lakeside area. Now, you all do law
That's
of
right.
all kinds, right? So, not just wills. And now you have other things, testimonies.
We do.
Tell me what all you do.
Pretty much we focus, Michael, on civil and criminal matters. For example, when it comes with labor law, yes, we work with other attorneys that are specialized on that.
That's
subject.
not when you're having a baby. That's like when you're working and have some kind of
Exactly.
problem.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, you know, labor is labor.
Labor is
You
labor.
wouldn't know anything about it. Your mom, I know she knows about it, right?
Yeah, no.
Yes.
She's 100% experienced in that one.
Yeah, exactly. So everything that is non-related to civil or criminal matters, we do work with attorneys.
Okay.
But we believe that the more you specialize in a single thing, the better, and the best results that you can give. And immigration as well. We also handle immigration.
Oh, you
We
do?
have a specialized immigration attorney that handles everything regarding visas, work permits, permanentes,
Temporary
temporals.
visas,
Exactly.
permanent visas, whatever. So you all are kind of associated with the Lake Spa Society, which is a great, great community hub down here. And if you're a brand new expat, you just moved down here from Regina, Saskatchewan, and you're going to live down here from now on, and you need to have an idea of what you need to do. Do I need my temporary visa? Do I need my permanent visa? You're not the visa office. I want to make that very clear. That's
we're
part
not.
of the federal government.
That's
and
correct.
it's here.
That's immigration. It's
But
easy.
you can help them
That's correct.
know what they need to do, the different steps,
Exactly.
and other types of things too. And basically, anything that you need a lawyer for, they can contact you all, and you can say, well, we don't do that. We specialize in this. you need to go over here.
Exactly.
Exactly. We
Yes.
can do that also.
You're a great reference. So,
Yes.
and you can be contacted. We'll let you give your contact information out here in a minute,
Absolutely.
but maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. Maybe 30 minutes. Who knows?
At any moment this fine.
One of the before we let you go, we'll let you
We
get
will
all
do
the
that.
information, your
Sounds
phone
good.
numbers, and all that stuff.
Sounds great.
So I just moved down here, and I do have a will in the United States, but it was brought up by Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and I don't really trust it from Mexico. So we're going to have you all redo it. And
good.
of course, September's the best month.
Absolutely.
But we're almost through September, so if I come to you October, it's going to be a little bit more money, but you can still do it.
That's let
And
me
it might
make
take a month or two or three.
No, it
a week.
actually is very fast.
Oh, very fast.
The will. This is a good thing that you just mentioned because the will month is usually only for September, but it's been almost 20 years that it has been extended all the way through October. as
Okay.
well. So you have the discount for September and for October.
Remember that, because you might not have time this year, but next year, because you might be a snowbird coming down
Exactly.
from Ottawa or from the UK, and you don't get here till, I don't know, let's say February 12th.
February, exactly. Yeah.
2023, we can still contact you and then we can start. Okay, I come down here, I need my will, and I need to think, what information do I need? It's probably better if I write out a list of stuff, who I am, where I'm from, what I own, what I don't own, what I borrowed from my sister-in-law and I need to give back, all kinds of information before I even come and waste your time.
Exactly. It's not wasting.
Well, I
That's,
know,
that's
but
why
I mean-
we're here, because we help, because sometimes they have the idea. What you just mentioned is very important. If you bring the idea already, and people sometimes have a lot of bequests, Michael. They have anything from pets to furniture, things like that, small things that you might think that are not in, well, not myself, that I don't think they are important, but they are important for the people, the grantor that is
Sure.
granting the will. So if you have the idea already in a piece of paper, obviously it's going to make it for us a lot easier. So we can just go ahead, make a draft for you in both languages. Remember that the will needs to be registered in Spanish. That's the only
Oh.
language that is valid, unless you're talking about the handwritten will, but we can discuss that in a little bit. The regular will that is granted in front of a notary needs to be registered in Spanish. But you can have two columns, one in Spanish, one in English, for the grantor to know exactly what they are going to be signing.
Well, what I was trying to say is it's better for everybody to put all that information down,
Absolutely.
do it all,
Yes.
and then come visit. I mean,
Yes.
I don't want to come into your office and you have to ask me, what's your name? What's your birthday?
Yeah,
What's your
definitely.
social security number?
Yeah.
I don't want to waste your time doing that. I want to have it all written down, all kinds of general information, even questions that I might not even think of. Then you can not waste all your time getting the preliminary stuff.
Absolutely.
You'll have it all. You know, and it's very, very important for everybody to have a will. I'm telling you this right now, because if you pass away, which you're going to, believe it or not, I'm sorry to tell you,
Yeah, all of us.
nobody's
So
a
much.
Highlander. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to live forever. Lazarus, I think, was brought back from the dead, at least what the Bible
But that's
said.
an exception.
And some of them have been reading. Anyway, you're going to need a will because when you die, you're going to be gone. You're not going to be able to answer questions, or you're not going to say, I didn't want to give him that. I wanted her to have that.
Exactly.
Unless you want to do it on video, and then you can do it like this and do a will before. And I guess a lot of people are doing that now. They're setting up their iPhone or their other kind of Nextex phone, or I don't have a cell phone, so I don't know who makes them.
They will just go ahead
I
and
really
record
don't.
themselves.
But they videotape themselves talking and all that, and I guess they could actually bring that to you, and you could look down and listen. And then you have to write it all down in English and Spanish. I learned that a long time ago. When I got married here 20 some odd years ago, everything was in Spanish, and I just signed a bunch of documents, and I had no idea what I was signing. I might have bought a new, house or something.
You
I don't
had
know
no
what
idea.
I did. I have no idea what I did, but my wife did, and that's all that matters. She lets me come to the door and knock and come in all the time, certainly. But it is very important to have all that information and condense your time.
That's correct.
Okay, is it a set fee or is it a per hour charge?
No,
Because in
per-
the United States, most lawyers charge by the hour, by the second, really, by the minute.
That's a good question, Michael. All of our cases we go by the hour, but there's some exceptions. One of them is wills. Actually, we have a set fee for the will draft,
Okay.
and as well for medical directives. So we have a set fee for those, as well as for everything that is related to immigration. When we go by the hour, it's for more complicated cases where
when
lawsuits
they're
need to
in
be
trial
filed. We
or-
need to take to the courthouse, probate, for example, as well. It goes by the hour, but everything related to wills on the drafts for notaries, that's something that we have a set fee for.
Okay, you mentioned about medical a minute ago.
Yes, a
A
medical,
medical
directives.
directive, is
Yeah.
that what you call it? What is that? Explain to
A
my
medical-
audience and explain to me, because I don't know what it is.
Medical directives is a document that needs to be notarized, by the way, that pretty much says all of the information that you would like the hospital to know in case you are in a critical condition and you're not able to make decisions for yourself.
So you're
we're-
incapacitated,
Exactly, that's
and,
right.
and somebody, you're in the hospital for some reason,
Mhm.
you've had a heart attack or a stroke or something
Exactly,
like
yes.
that, or,
And you cannot make your own decisions.
You cannot make your own
so
decisions.
you can do your own, you can make your own decisions if you do your medical directives. Because
Okay.
you are going to say there, if the doctors decide that I'm not going to live, I'm going to die anyway. I don't want that they feed me in the vein. I don't want respiratory assistance.
No resuscitation.
keep you alive for another 3 or 4
Exactly.
months
What-
or years,
What do
whatever.
you want?
Yeah, you don't want to be in that kind of situation. And it's very important to note, there's a lot of expats down here that come down with their married spouse, and then one or the other unfortunately passes away. And then they're by themselves. And they may not have any children down here, they're all back in wherever. And then they get sick and they have to go to the hospital or they pass away, and then nobody knows what to do because
Exactly.
they've never written down who their next of kin is, where they're from, and there have been, and I know this is my experience with the American consulate, that they have people, Americans and Canadians, that pass away, and they don't know how to contact anybody
That's
because
a-
they've never written it down. It's so important to write all this information down. You spend an hour a day figuring out where you're going to go to dinner,
Exactly.
or what
Yeah.
kind of taco you're going to order,
Or your activities for the
yeah,
weekend.
activities, what movie I'm going to go see.
Yeah.
You spend 20 minutes. But one of the most important things in the world that you can take an hour to do is what's going to happen to you when you do pass away.
Exactly.
Where you're going to be buried, who's going to get whatever you have, who's not going to get what they wanted, but you have to tell them in advance.
Absolutely. Yep.
But if you don't have a will or you don't have a medical directive,
Nobody's gonna know.
nobody's going to know, and you're going to be what we call SOL, which I can't say on the radio.
Yeah.
Or the,
But I know what you mean.
whatever. But everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's very important to do this, and you need to do it not next month, not in 3 months, but now.
Yeah.
You know, the
This is the
President of the
perfect
United
moment.
States, Abraham Lincoln, was a lawyer. He died without a will.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine that?
That's.
Yeah, that's very common. I can
Well-
Ulysses S. Grant, General of the Union
That's
Army,
without a
President of the United States, died without a will.
will. That's horrible.
No, yeah, that's terrible.
And I'll bet probably 20%, I don't know what percentage, I can make up anything I want because it's my show. A large percentage of people die without wills.
That's correct. That's right.
And it takes a couple hours to write all the information down instead of watching a Netflix show.
You can just go ahead.
You can sit down and write it down, then bring it not only to this law firm, but to any law firm that's in the city
Exactly. Yep.
or town or village, whatever you're living at.
Or any
it doesn't
notary.
matter who y'all use. These kind of people are here giving the information out, so it's,
Yeah,
great
exactly.
to use them.
Like
but
you-
anybody, but get it done. It's important, okay?
And the will, it's done in the same day, Michael.
Oh, it is.
So if you're, for example, you go with your attorney, you show up, you have a draft made, you get the appointment with the notary. Probably not the same day. You won't have the appointment the same day that with the attorney. You show up with to your appointment with the notary. Your will is going to be done the same day.
And then they're going to file it, and
And-
you're going to have copies of it. And then if you have a
Exactly.
daughter or 2 daughters or 3 sons or 3 cousins or whatever, you can send them copies of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do unfortunately pass away
They will
here
have
in
everything.
Mexico, they'll have it.
Exactly.
They may be living in Bohoken, New Jersey, and they'll have it,
And they'll
and
have
they'll
it.
be able to come down here, and it'll be a lot easier on them
A lot easier. That's
to
correct.
do everything.
Yes, the probate, when there is a will, it's like taking the highway. So you will
Okay.
go a lot faster. And if we can tell you all kinds of horror stories of people that actually passed away without a will and claiming property, their heirs or their family members that don't even live here in Mexico. They come from the US, they come from Canada without having an idea, first of all, what kind of properties they own or how many, or if there was any bank accounts. they have no information. And
That's
we've
true.
had those situations happen.
Well, we can't talk about horror stories because this is September and that's going to be October when Day of the Dead
When we can start
and
with the horror
Halloween
stories.
is. So we'll have you back to tell horror stories then,
definitely.
okay?
Sounds good.
I would like only clarify something. They don't need to go with the attorney if they don't want. They can go directly with the
notary.
notario.
Okay, well,
Okay.
notarios are lawyers.
Yes, they are lawyers too, so they can go directly. So
And they give the September/October discount off.
That's correct.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. So they don't need to go always with the attorney. They can choose to go first with the attorney because some people they feel a little I don't know stress and they want some kind of help. But I would like to clarify that they don't need an attorney before to go to the notarial.
They go notario.
That is the choice. If
And
they
they'll
wanna
have to
go,
end up with
yes.
notario anyway.
Yeah, you will.
Yes.
At the
And
end,
they
you will
will
need to
have-
go with a notary, and like Maria was saying.
Are you a notario or either one of y'all
No,
notario?
you're not
we are
notaries.
not notarians.
But what Maria's saying is true. We usually advise to have an appointment made with an attorney because it's going to be a lot easier for you. You will know exactly what you can put in your will, and it will help you kind of give you that peace of mind that all of your requests and everything are going to be written down exactly the way you want that. That's one point. And the second one is the time. If you just show up with the notary, you're going to be there for hours because the notary needs to make the draft for you. You need to read it, then it needs to be signed and then notarized. So it saves you time as well.
And where they say time is money.
Time is money. That's correct.
My money talks, it says
Money
goodbye.
Exactly.
Well, we talked about the medical
Directives.
directive, and my daughter's already had mine. If I get really, really sick, I don't want to go to a nursing home. I want to go on a cruise ship, and I just want to sail on that cruise ship until I'm, can't take care of myself anymore. And then I'm gonna have the cabin kid throw me over the board. I want to
good
pay for
idea.
a funeral. I want to buy a fancy casket.
Nothing like that.
Feed the fish.
Yeah, that's a good idea,
Because I'm gonna
actually.
die anyway.
I will probably do the same.
No, well,
honestly. So,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well, you can't have my idea. You got to.
I'll have a
Come
similar
along.
idea, but different.
Well, you can join me if you want, but I guarantee I'm a lot older than you are. Of course, you never know, though.
Well,
You never know.
You never know.
We never know,
We never know.
when. And I'm a firm believer. The Bible says you never know
Exactly.
that Christ is going to come as a thief in the night, and He's going to, you're going to go. You're going to pass. I firmly believe, and I always have in my life, I'm going to go when He wants me to. When that big guy up there wants me to go, I don't care if I'm skydiving or if I'm sitting in a restaurant or if I'm standing out in front of the train
Exactly,
at
that's
Amtrak. I'm going to go when He wants me to.
Yes.
I don't know when it's going to be, but whenever it is,
And there's a lot of surprises. I mean, like you just mentioned, a heart attack, a stroke, and that is very common. A stroke.
Any accident.
Or any accident.
oh, anything. You can be
Yeah,
walking
anything.
down one of the sidewalks over in IE and trip and fall.
Exactly,
I'm
that's
not
right.
afraid to die. I just don't want to be there when it happens.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, maybe I will do the same.
But yeah, you do need to get a will. You need to get a medical directive.
As well.
What else?
Pretty much the main advice that we have is will, medical directives, and just probably
And
a
the
power of
funeral
attorney.
services, but
The
if
funeral
you,
services.
Yeah, you
Funeral
need to go to the
services.
funeral house and make your choices. What do you want to be? Cremated, or you want to be
Buried.
buried, or what do you want? And you have to do that in the funeral house.
They can cremate you, put you on SpaceX, and shoot you up in the sky, and then
You actually-
disperse your ashes up to
Mars.
You will have
the
to pay more,
stratosphere.
yes.
It costs a little bit of money unless you're
A little bit more.
relayed to Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or something like that.
But
or-
that's very creative. So
well, it is. It costs a little bit more than most things.
yeah, than
But,
being buried.
you know, some people are.
like to pass away in an exotic way. So yeah.
When
That's
I
a good
die, they're
idea.
going to bury me so shallow a puppy will be able to dig me up. I don't know what's going to happen to me. I need to figure that out, don't I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I need to
definitely.
go
Everybody has
Yeah.
redo my will.
The best that you can do is your will.
And I'm going to be gone, so I don't know if what they're going to do.
But well, this is important because the people think it's because my age. I need to do right now my will. No, you need to have your will.
You need to have
At
one
any
done when
age.
you're young.
Always.
Exactly.
Because you never
Yes.
know when you're going to go.
We never know.
You might live to be 105, and you might die when you're 16.
Tomorrow, or you never know. I mean, it's like you just mentioned, and that's important. Actually, that's why the Mexican government is promoting so much this discount for wills, because we are lacking kind of the education on wills, and they're trying to promote that part. And there's a lot of misinformation, especially for expats that thinking that they have their own will in their countries, might be, call it the US, Canada, UK, and they think that living here, and they usually purchase a property. Some of them rent, that's true, but they start making their own things or gathering their own things here. And it might be small things, but for them they are a lot, like furniture, like I was just mentioning before. So it's always important to have those divided. Have your own will in your country, and for everything that you have here, they start making friends, very good friends. They maybe want to live. We've had cases of musical instruments as well, that the person owned musical instruments, and some of the friends were musicians. So they will like those musical instruments to go to their friends. So that's a bequest that you can go ahead and put in your will. Small situations like that make the difference.
Well, as parents, we try and teach our children well.
Yeah,
And that's a song by Crosby, Stills, Nash, but I think it's a great song. But anyway, you know, we taught our kids how to ride bikes, how to do this, how to do that. I have 2 daughters, and I've talked to both of them. You have children of your own. You need to have a will.
Yes.
exactly.
And they're in their 30s and 40s. And I've told both of my daughters, you don't need to wait till you're 50 or 60 or 70. You need to do it now, because if something was to happen to you, your children will have to be taken care of if they're minors. And so when you're talking to your kids, you know, we talk to you, oh, don't speed, don't do this, don't do this, do this, don't do that. We need to say, be a responsible adult.
Exactly.
Make yourself a will.
Yep.
And nobody when they're 20, 25, 30 want to think about doing that.
They don't even think about that.
But when you're 25, 30 and you are married and you have a job and you own your house or your whatever,
You better have
you still need to have a will.
That's
It's very
right.
important. So talk to your kids, talk to your grandkids. A lot of us expats have grandkids. Everybody should have one. I don't
Exactly.
know why they don't issue them when they get your Social Security card when you're
Yeah, yeah,
born.
yeah.
You know, here, you got to, you know, write down here so we can charge you income tax from the Internal Revenue Service, and here's your will, because we don't want you passing away without knowing what we're going to do with your Xbox
With your Xbox.
or your
With your
guitar or
Xbox.
whatever, or your Ferrari. And
What you're mentioning is very important, Michael, because a lot of people thinking, well, knowing that they're young, they think that they don't need a will, or they also think that they might have more things later on, or they might make mistakes on their will, on who's the heir, things like that. Know that that can always be changed.
sure.
Only one will prevail.
And you
That's
can
true.
write something in addition to your will. What is that called?
You need to grant a new will.
Okay.
For any change that you need to make, you grant a new will. But it's something that can be done indefinitely.
Okay.
You don't have a limit for that. Only one will prevail, that's for sure. So if you grant a new one and you already have one, that one is going to be revoked. And the one that will prevail is always the most recent one.
Okay.
So any changes that you want to make, you can go ahead and make them at any moment.
And when you make a will, you can't just say, when I die, I want everything to go to this person. Because everything could be anything. It could be, you know, $50,000 on a credit card.
Yes, so no, that's not a good idea.
That's not
Not a good idea,
good
'cause
idea.
then they're probably going to come and dig up your casket and sell it.
Yeah.
It's-
So in order to be able to pay for the credit
I
card.
was kind of being funny, but say I owe $10,000 on a credit card and I die. And I leave all my money to my ex-old best friend, Ray. What happens? Does he have to pay that credit card debt?
No, it
I'm
depends.
coming in this part.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's actually
you
civil
should-
law. Yeah, well,
That's yeah, I'm asking funny questions.
No, this
but
is a
That-
good
that's
question.
It's important.
That's perfect.
It's very
and
important.
It's very good that you asked this one. Usually in Mexico, and I'm very sure in the most of the world, when you have a credit card or you have mortgage or any other kind of loan, like a credit card or any other thing, you usually you have to pay an insurance, a life insurance. So in case that you pass away, usually the insurance will pay the amount that you own.
That debt doesn't die with you.
Yep.
No.
I mean,
No,
that
because
definitely does.
it's an insurance for if you
No,
pass
no,
away.
I know insurance, and you can probably get that pretty inexpensively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I don't have any insurance and I have $10,000 on a credit card and I die, and I leave everything to my 2 daughters, they're not responsible for that debt, are they?
No,
Okay.
no. In Mexico, But listen, this is very very special in Mexico. They can go with the assets that belongs to you,
Okay, and then pay that debt off.
and they can pay with that one. Usually, that's why they have an insurance, a life insurance,
Okay.
to pay that. But you by yourself, you don't have to pay that. Not
Okay.
with your money. That's what I'm trying to say. Not with your money. You don't have to pay nothing.
Okay.
And usually, what you have to say is that there is an insurance. Use the insurance, because many people they don't know that, and sometimes they pay, but they don't have to.
Okay, well, I want to say this to you two. I want to say it to every lawyer and every notario and everybody in the world. If you have a cat or a dog that you love and you die and you leave everything to them, don't do it. I'll give you my name and number. And please,
That's a better idea.
cats don't need a Rolls Royce. They don't need $800,000 or a chateau in Astoria. I do. So give it to me, please.
To us.
Forget that cat and dog. You give me everything you have, and I'll buy that cat and dog some food and a new collar and whatever. Just give the money to me. Don't give it to your pet, okay? Okay, we have about 8-9 minutes left. What are some things that I haven't spoke about or asked questions on that you need the expat community and anybody else that's listening to this program today to know?
The importance of medical directives, Michael. Those are pretty much the whole purpose of the medical directives is to pass away with dignity. Just so you can know that you're not going to be intubated in case you don't want to, that you're not going to be resuscitated in case you don't want to as well. There's a lot of things that you can specify in the medical directives. It is a very fast document that can be done the same day with the notary as well. And it's good to have for your friends as well, in case you don't have any family members that can make any decisions for you. Because you know, as soon as you arrive to the hospital, well, first of all, you need to pay. Otherwise, they're not going to do anything to you.
Give the credit card.
So you credit card first, and then they will see what happens. But the hospital will ask somebody to be responsible for the unconscious person. So most of the time it's a family member. But we found that a lot of expats here don't have their family members here. They're
That's
living
true.
by themselves
Yeah.
or with their spouses. So they trust more on their friends. So the hospital starts making or requests one person to be responsible for all of the decisions that need to be taken. What are those decisions? What I was mentioning before. Knowing the intubation part, the resuscitation part, IV, any fluids that need to go through IV as well, or any medication.
If you're an organ donor, you need to let them know that you're an organ donor, that you want your
Exactly,
eyes
that's correct. Yeah.
to go to, you know,
That's a good one as
a
well.
blind person.
Yeah,
and Not
exactly.
someone who's got already good set of eyes.
Exactly, that's correct. Because the friend will need to make the decisions for you. But sometimes the friends, since it's such a sensitive subject, sometimes with your friends they don't even mention that. Like, I mean, casually you're just talking and you're not going like, I don't want to be intubated. That's something that it's more personal, and it's better to have it in a document.
Sure.
For everybody to know. So that's the importance.
And it's important to talk to your friends or your family. Hey, here's what I'm doing. You're going to be the one responsible.
Exactly.
You're going to be the one I'm leaving this to.
Exactly.
And let them know in advance. And hopefully they won't get mad because they're not getting that baby grand piano
Yeah.
or your Ferrari or whatever. And just say, hey, you know,
But they
it's
would-
mine.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to who I want.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't get it, don't go get upset and be mad at me for 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, and they will maybe be angry that they're not the heirs, but they will be responsible for the decisions that need
Yeah.
to be taken at the
So
hospital.
you got to remember, once you're gone, you're gone. They can't gripe and complain to you at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, it's very hard to make decisions. Usually, it's the doctor who is going to make all the decisions if you don't have your medical directives. And sometimes, I don't want to say nothing bad about nobody, but sometimes they do things that they know is good for nothing. So the best that you can do is have your medical directives, and you go to the hospital, and you go with the doctors, and you show the paper of this person, and you say, you cannot do this.
Yeah, we don't want you to run 500 tests to know the guy was hit by a truck.
Exactly.
You know, we
That's a
know
good
he's,
example.
he
That's a very
passed
good
away.
example.
We don't need to, you know, clip his toenails and give him a pedicure and manicure.
Yes, please,
Exactly.
not now.
Another $500.
Yes, exactly.
Or give him a pill that's $90
90 for nothing.
for nothing.
Yeah, that's a very good example in what Maria's saying.
And
is very
doctors,
true.
they went to college and they went to medical school for a long time,
Yep.
and they have a lot of debt, and I don't think that president guy in the United States is going to, he's going to give you 10 grand cut off. He's not going to give you $500,000, $600,000.
That's correct.
Exactly.
So they've spent a lot of money, and they've got to pay back themselves.
That's correct.
That's
Yeah.
why I don't go to doctors, because they just, they're like, going to the racetrack or to Las Vegas. You never know what you're going to get.
You don't really
They're
know
going to
what-
charge you for every single thing. $500 for a Band-Aid.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you, doctors, but
But it's the truth. I mean,
y'all overcharge everybody.
the thing
Be
is
honest.
that also with medication allergies, that's a very good example as well. Sometimes people are allergic to, can be certain antibiotics, penicillin, things like that. Those are things that you can specify in your medical directives, because otherwise the hospital is not going to know.
That's true.
So they will just administer whatever medication they believe is going to be the best, and it's going to turn out for the worst for that specific person.
Well, you have to have this done, and I had the Red Cross on a show or two before, and they said that they give out bottles like this that are empty but have paper in them.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do, you make a donation to the Red Cross, and they give you this bottle. And in that form, inside that bottle, they have a form of who you are, where you are, what medications you're allergic to, what you're not allergic to.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you place it in either your refrigerator or your freezer,
Mm-hmm.
and you put your Red Cross on that door. When they come to your house for an emergency,
search for
they
that.
go there and they can look at it and they say, here's Joe, he's having some kind of medical problem. We know he's allergic to anti-snake bite venom, so we don't want to give him that. And it's a very, very good idea to go to the Red Cross and get your bottle. But
That's
you don't need to go there. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
It's important to have all that written down.
That's correct, yes.
And
And
it's
contact information as well.
also,
People-
it's important when you do get your will to make sure that somebody in your family or who's going to be your next door neighbor taking care of you after you go knows where it is.
Yeah, that's
Nobody's going to come and search your entire house. I mean, don't lay it on your coffee table.
Yeah, exactly.
But tell at least not one person, because they might pass before you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
10 or 12 people or 5 people, whatever, where all your important documents are.
Mm-hmm.
And what your passwords are, where your credit cards are,
Banking
where your
information as
passport is, banking information.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have all that down. Now, that might not be in the will, but you can have another folder next to where your will is, a file
Yeah.
telling all that information and data.
That's correct. What we advise, Michael, that's a very good comment that you're making.
No, thank
Because
you.
Sometimes, yeah, definitely.
Sometimes
Because-
I do come up with a good idea.
because I mean, a lot of people think that they need to send copies of their wills to family members that live in other countries, and that's not really needed. I mean, useful it is, absolutely. But like you just mentioned, maybe the friend that has your copy passes away before you.
That's exactly right.
And you even forgot that he was the only one that had the copy. So our advice is, if you're already working things, you work with an attorney, have the contact information of your attorney to your family members or to your friends. In case anything happens, contact my attorney. It is our obligation to have a file
Okay.
with all of the documents that you just
And I
mentioned.
would like to say something else, because it's very important. There is a lot of people who ask if the executor in the will, it can be a foreign people, from somebody from the country that they come from. Yes, they can be an executor. They
Okay.
don't need to be Mexican, they don't need to be lawyers, they don't need to be anything.
They can be
Only
the
some-
executor of the will, and they can come down here and work with you all or do it on the internet or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so they can put any person that they really trust on. That's
Okay.
the most important. That's why I don't want to forget to mention this part.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
that-
That is very important.
That's very important, because the executor, remember that is going to be the one that is in charge of making sure that everything goes to who you want them. I mean, the law, the courthouse will assign the executor. They will say, okay, I recognize this person as the executor if you go through probate, but the executor is going to be in charge of making things happen, So
Okay.
if you wanted to leave your pets with
No,
a
give
certain
me.
bed, or well, I mean,
If you wanna give
not,
Michael-
not the money, but I'm talking about the pets specifically.
Okay.
Because sometimes there's requests of people that have service dogs, just to give you an example.
That's true.
And obviously they take care of them, and they, until their family members can come to Mexico to pick them up, sometimes they decide to leave it at a vet place or a shelter that they can take care of, and that's a bequest that can be put on the will. So yeah, I mean, the executor is the one that is going to be in charge of making things really happen, and it's a big responsibility. So make sure, like Maria was saying, that it's somebody that you trust,
Yeah.
fully trust.
Well, I said in the very beginning I'd let y'all give out some information. We're out of time. Would you go ahead and give out your names again,
Absolutely.
your contact information,
Yes.
your phone number, your email, and all that stuff? And so all my listeners, except my cousin Joe, I don't want him to do it. Anybody else that wants to can contact you, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, my full name is Maria de las Nieves, but everybody call me Maria. So our firm name is Solbes and Solbes because
Solbes and Solbes is your last name.
yeah, I'll
It's a
say
firm name,
last name.
and her last name is Solbes.
And my phone number is 3315 205925.
Okay. And I want you to look right into the camera and give your
Yes.
information, nice and slow.
I'm just going to correct her phone
Correct
number.
her. She never calls herself.
Yeah, I mean,
Conoce.
yeah, her phone number is 3315205529.
20, 55, 29.
29. That's
Those,
correct.
I'm going to write those numbers down even for the lottery
And
tonight.
it's on the business card as well.
And it's on their card too.
And
so.
my full name is Attorney Diego Diaz Solbes. I'm from the Solbes and Solbes law firm as well. Maria's my partner. And my cell phone is 3336-766245. Email is Diego Solbes, everything together, at gmail.com or hotmail.com. Either one works.
Wow, you got 2 of them.
Yep.
I got 8 of them.
And I would like only to have one, but trust me, sometimes a lot of emails.
I don't have a cell
from
phone. I've never had a cell phone, but I do have.
But you have your email.
I have my email. I
That's
got the
more
radio
than
show. I got the broadcast,
your
the
radio show as well.
telecast.
Yep.
I got my personal one. I got the ones I use on, the dark net and stuff like that. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you too.
time. I
Thank you to
appreciate it.
Michael.
Contact these folks if you need help. Anything law.
Thank
right?
you very much, Michael. Yes, yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
this is the end of another Expat Conversation with Michael Nolen. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
We'll see you next show. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy trails to you until